What's up, Space Pirates? This is your Admiral, the decidedly debonair Dr. Disaster, and tomorrow begins the alpha test for Marathon, and based on the reaction that they have gotten for the game thus far, I am confident that the executives at Bungie have very little confidence in their game being accepted by gamers. I mean, look at the ratio on this trailer that they put out last week. They are at over 900,000 views on the gameplay reveal trailer on the official Marathon YouTube channel, and they are currently at 22,000 likes to 33,000 dislikes. People were not shy at all about telling Bungie that their characters look terrible, that their gameplay looks rough. They let Bungie know exactly what they thought of their new game.
Looks like shit.
It does look like shit.
In order to overcome the terrible gamer sentiment against Marathon, Bungie announced that they are removing the non-disclosure agreements from the people participating in the alpha test, which begins tomorrow. As you can see in this X post, they said, "As developers, we believe community feedback and dialogue is essential to make the best version of Marathon. Up until now, this feedback has come from closed playtest sessions. In the spirit of building towards that future, we've decided to remove the NDA from our closed alpha test. Everyone can share their thoughts, feedback, and footage, including streaming, starting on April 23rd. And to me, this sounds like a company desperate for some positive attention. As we will talk about in a minute here, reportedly, the bigwigs at Bungie are going into this feeling very nervous."
Well, you look nervous. Is it
all the people telling you you're a dumbass?
Alright, me hearties, make sure you hit the like button on this video, share it with your friends, subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet, and also, please consider supporting the channel by becoming a member. This Friday, channel members get access to an audiobook version of the first part of my novel, which is written in a dark fantasy setting. The whole book will become available on Amazon in the near future, but in the meantime, if you want to support alternatives to crap like Marathon here, well, consider becoming a channel member for as little as $5 a month. But anyhow, let's talk about Marathon and how these guys at Bungie seem to be shitting their pants about the reception that they've gotten thus far. Let's start off by looking at what Grum said the other day on this subject. This is one of the few times I'm actually gonna partially disagree with him, and that's okay, we're not a monolith around here, but anyhow. He replied to this announcement of Bungie, saying they were lifting the NDAs by writing, "Bungie drops Marathon NDA from alpha test. This speaks of confidence against the backlash. That's the part I disagree with." Grums also wrote, "They feel they have a good game that outweighs the concerns about blandness in characters. Props on the move. It's a good move. Now we get to see if the gameplay is good." And now, that part I agree with. Lifting the NDA is a good move, and in fact, it is kinda the only move they can make. Obviously, they don't want too much stuff to get leaked from their alpha test, but they need good feedback. They need positive word of mouth, and who better to spread that word of mouth than people who got invited to the alpha test? These are going to be their sycophants. A lot of these people wouldn't say an unkind word about Bungie if they stole their beating hearts from out of their chests. So I think it was a good move on Bungie's part, but I also think it is born out of desperation. It does not speak to confidence in my mind. And as more evidence of that, look at this here. This post on X says Marathon leadership was reportedly nervous after the gameplay reveal reactions and hoped lifting the NDA for the upcoming closed alpha would help shift the narrative. After the reaction to the gameplay reveal, leadership was nervous, but they tried to reassure teams. Ultimately, they figured it would shift the narrative if the NDA was lifted. Like I said, to me, it looks like they're willing to try anything drastic in order to change the narrative around this game. And it isn't much of a risk when you think about it, because the vast majority of people playing the alpha will be people who want the game to succeed, period. Which is why I think that this was a pretty solid move on their part. But this information about them being nervous in regards to the response they got for their game originated with Paul Tassi in Forbes, and this is from his article. It gives us some more information about the game, saying here, why did this happen? Per my sources, a few things were going on here. The closed alpha exists truly as a technical test ahead of the launch. They didn't want it open now to everyone because they need to limit the number of players so things don't totally break. They need at least a somewhat limited test like this, certainly not uncommon in the industry. Bungie did the NDA assuming things would leak given the scope of the test, but as long as it would be somewhat limited, it would be good enough. They weren't going to take anyone to court over it. After the reaction to the gameplay reveal, leadership was nervous, but they tried to reassure teams. Ultimately, they figured it would shift the narrative if the NDA was lifted. I'm also seeing a ton of codes go out, plus friend codes, so I wonder how many alpha denials are even going to happen. It does in fact seem to have helped. There will be an open beta likely in August, much closer to launch, where you will then be able to pre-order its various editions ahead of the September 23rd launch. At this time, as everyone assumes, Marathon costs $40 in the vein of Helldivers 2 and yes, Concord. You simply cannot pull the trigger this late on suddenly making a game free to play, even if it's a common complaint. Not that it's the plan anyway at this point. And I agree with that. It is likely virtually impossible for Bungie to change up the monetization model this late in the game, so to speak. They're about 5 months away from launch, and they are going to be focused on getting the game itself ready to go. They don't have time to piss around with a monetization model, a new monetization model, even though their current model is likely destined to screw them completely. But Grum seemed to come around on acknowledging that lifting the NDA is indicative of a studio that is in trouble and scrambling to fix things. He wrote this yesterday: the Marathon Alpha is in 2 days and they lifted the NDA. There's a lot riding on this. Gamers across the spectrum are, so far, not impressed with the gameplay or the art style. The game has challenges. Destiny players have left and feel overlooked, and the majority of them do not want to play an extraction shooter. Even if the gameplay is spot on, I see a lot of disinterest. They will have to light a fire with this alpha. But I'm gonna leave it there. What do you guys think? Will the alpha light the fire that Bungie so desperately needs, or is this game destined to become another Concord? Personally, I don't see it getting that bad, not as bad as Concord, but it does seem like it might just suck for Bungie. Anyhow, drop your thoughts into the comment section below, and we will talk there. Thanks for watching, me hearties. If you haven't already, your Admiral is inviting you to subscribe to the channel and become a part of the crew. Life as a space pirate may not be glamorous, but there's always plenty of booty.